S.E. Smith is a New York Times, USA Today, and international award-winning best-selling author of science fiction, paranormal fantasy, young adult, and contemporary action romance stories that pull readers into worlds that transport them away. Go, Susan.
Hi, everyone. This is from Gracie's Touch, my reader's choice for me to read tonight. Gracie let her head fall back simply because she no longer had the strength to hold it up. She was freezing, could hardly breathe as the oxygen levels were dropping dramatically, and weak from blood loss. The tears in her suit were hindering the suit's ability to keep her warm. Ladera raised a weak hand and laid it on Gracie's shoulder when Mohan's faint voice urgently repeated that help was on the way. "You did it, Gracie," Ladera sent the message across the screen from behind her. "You brought everyone home like you said you would." Gracie was too tired to respond. One slow tear coursed down her cheek when she heard Mohan's voice. Corin would know that she had tried to come back to him. She only had a few more minutes of power in the damaged suit. She put the helmet back on to help retain heat and to use the power of the suit to patch into the fighter. It was a huge drain on it, but it was the only way she could get the communications back online long enough to send out an SOS. But it came at a price. It drained her suit and its life support capabilities. "Gracie, your suit level is low. I can see it on the screen in my helmet. You must patch into mine. We will share until they get here," Ladera sent an alarm. "Not yet," Gracie sent weakly. "I have a little time, 10 minutes, maybe more if I use shallow breaths. I don't want to drain you as well." Ladera leaned forward and placed her hand on Gracie's uninjured shoulder. "You must promise to connect with me before you run out. If you do not, I will try," Ladera sent across Gracie's helmet again. Gracie let her head move in a weak nod of agreement. She just needed to hang on for a little longer. Shivers shook her body as it attempted to keep warm. Every violent shake sent waves of pain through her as her injured arm and leg protested the movement. Luckily, she thought, as her vision became fuzzy, it seemed like the bleeding had stopped, or at least slowed down some. What seemed like hours later, Gracie's head jerked when she felt a thump on the outside of the fighter. She was down to less than 2 minutes of air, and the helmet was flashing a warning. Gracie turned her head slowly and looked through the clear viewport window of the fighter. About 25 feet away was one of the Conqueror's fighters. Gracie could make out who was in the pilot's seat, but everything in her body was screaming it was Corden. He had come for her. Gracie weakly raised her uninjured arm and splayed her hand on the window to let him know that she knew he was near. That last bit of effort was more than her body could handle. Gracie's vision went dark, and she slumped forward as the last of her oxygen ran out. Dreams were often a strange and wonderful thing, Gracie thought vaguely, as she drifted in a warm cocoon of darkness. Flashes of light, strange and familiar voices, strong arms, a deep voice threatening to whip her butt if she gave up, floated through Gracie's mind as she drifted between wakefulness, life, and death. Perhaps death wasn't so bad, Gracie thought. A deep growl and firm hands on her face told her she must have said that out aloud. "Death is not better. Do you hear me, Gracie? Death is an option, not an option. You will fight. You will live," Corden growled hoarsely. Gracie could feel his hot breath against her cheek as he leaned closer to her ear. She couldn't seem to get any more words out, so she squeezed the hand holding her uninjured one. She would fight. This one last time, she would fight. Then she was going to sleep for a very, very long time. A frown creased her forehead. Why was she so tired? The thought faded as fingers gently caressed her forehead until the frown was gone. The touch felt so good, Gracie couldn't help but try to lean into it. "Admiral, I need to get her to medical as soon as possible, a light, feminine voice said. I have her stable for now, but she needs additional healing that I cannot do here. Gordon nodded and reluctantly released Gracie's hand as the medical staff began moving Gracie out of the triage that had been set up in the landing bay. Gordon stiffened when Gracie made a slight whimpering sound at the loss of his touch. One of the other medical staff was checking Ladera over to make sure she wasn't hurt. Gordon paused when he felt the light touch on his arm. Turning, he looked at Ladera. She is an extraordinary woman. I hope she will be all right. Gordon nodded briefly. She will be. See that this woman is given quarters, food, and fresh clothing, Gordon ordered the medical technician before he turned to leave. Bran, you have the bridge. I will be in medical should you need me. Send me the reports on the ship as soon as it is done and plan for a course for Paulus, Gordon ordered as the lift opened, and he stepped in. We should be finished in another 10 hours. I'll get the reports to you immediately. I also have the data collected from the Eleuthean mothership that we were able to download before it exploded. If not for Gracie's understanding of their programming, we wouldn't have gotten so far. I am still analyzing their weapons and engineering. Gordon told Tolis the information on their organic DNA, and he is reviewing the robotic part of them. We will get you that preliminary report as soon as we can as well, Bran said as the lift opened onto the level containing the medical unit. Gordon nodded. His mind was not on the Conqueror or even the Eleuthians any longer. It was solely focused on Gracie. He knew he needn't worry about the Conqueror. They could run the warship without him for a little while. That was why he had chosen the crew he had. 3 days later, Gracie's brain finally decided it had enough sleep and was ready to wake up. She had been conscious part of the time over the last couple of days, but she just didn't have the strength to respond. It was like her body had said enough was enough, and it was going to do what it wanted for a little while. She heard Mohan's soft voice and felt the soft fur from her hands as she brushed over Gracie's face or hands when she touched her. In the background, she knew Gordon was there. He never left her except to take care of his personal needs. He always returned within what seemed like minutes. She heard people coming in and asking Gordon questions or him giving orders, but he was always near enough that she could feel the warmth of his skin against hers. She liked it when he talked to her. He told her about growing up on Zion and how beautiful it was. He told her about his home there and how he was going to take her there after she woke up. He said his favorite color was green now because of her eyes. Her lips actually twitched at that. She would never have realized the tough exterior of the warrior was a cover for a romantic interior. He was always touching her, either her face or her hands or her hair. It didn't matter. She loved it and would unconsciously move toward it, seeking more. And that is just a sample of Gracie's touch.